Y'all, I'm a bit of a system whore. I love a good system in my business, and I don't mind at all to understand when a system does not work for me any longer, or doesn't serve my business, or doesn't serve me in any way, and I need to kick her to the curb and get a new one. So I've used basically all the things when it comes to running my business and planning my content and managing my content and whatever else on my way to and past six figures. So I wanted to share some systems that helped me make six figures and continue to help me make multiple six figures in my business. By the way, if you're new here, hi, howdy, hey, my name is Jessica Stansberry, and I am pumped that you are here. If you're not new here, welcome back, old friend. Okay, I honestly don't remember what year I actually hit $100,000 in the business, but I think it was like 2017, 2018, somewhere in that range. And since then, I have continued to hit that and hit above that and double it and triple it and all the things. And I can honestly say, I can sit here and tell you, and on my M1 MacBook that I love so very much, that having the right systems in place were and are still the only reason I was able to hit six figures and was able to hire contractors to help me get there and then hire employees to help me grow that. Systems are a freaking lifesaver when you're doing things like putting content on the internet or running an online business, because you can't store it all in here. If you watched my Airbnb video, I was really frustrated in that video because one of the guys that we wanted to interview for this Airbnb thing stood us up, and that led to a conversation where my assistant and I were talking about how, like, we don't understand people who don't use a calendar, especially if they're in a business or in a situation where they're promising to be certain places at certain times or meet certain people or whatever, right? And there was absolutely a time in my life where I did not keep a calendar, where I did not do things in that way, but I could not have grown my business to this measure, to this point. I could not be consistent on YouTube with 1 to 2 videos a week. I could not put out a podcast for the last bajillion years once a week. I could not post on Instagram or manage my team without systems in place, okay? So we're going to talk about this. I have 5. All right, so these are in no particular order. I love all of these so much. So they're not in order in any way. They're just in the order I put them in the list when I thought of them, okay? First things first, this one's an interesting one for me to put first because we're actually moving away from it, and I'll explain why in a second, but that is ThriveCart. So having a system where I can not only, put my things for sale, my digital products for sale, my courses, my actual digital products, like whatever for sale, but also having a system that is built out in a way where I can have affiliates and coupon codes and order bumps and one-time offers has drastically increased the amount of money that I can make, because I can keep everything in one system. It's really easy for us to be able to go in, create a page for someone to buy something, even create an order bump where, when they purchase, they have the option to purchase this other thing, and exponentially increase the money that I make per transaction. So I've been using ThriveCart for several years now, and I think it's a great place for a lot of people, and I really, really love it. But I don't necessarily think it's the system here that matters. It's the fact that you have something that does that you have something that allows you to have an offer and then have an add-on offer and then have another add-on offer, so that you're not leaving any money on the table. Because I think that's really important to sales funnels and to getting people in the door to things and whatever else. So that being said, we're actually switching away from ThriveCart and switching over to FG funnels. So my good friend Kathy Olson, who I have known since like 2015 or 2016, and Julie Stoyan created this funnel platform that will literally replace like 3 or 4 tools for me. It's going to be able to replace ThriveCart and Elementor, which is what I use to build my sales pages, and really streamline our process in building out these funnels and building out things that we have one-time offers for, or order bumps, or webinars or whatever, without us having to kind of like piecemeal everything together, while also being really pretty and functional. So while I'm talking about ThriveCart, I also want to mention FG funnels, and I also want to tell you that the system here isn't really what matters. It's more about having that process in place, because I have then been able to increase my like cart value when I'm doing a launch or when I'm selling something. And that's really important to trying to make more money and trying to get further in the process. Oh, and by the way, I will link all of these things below in the description. Okay, second one on the list is Calendly. Calendly is basically a system where you can sync your calendar, like your Google Calendar or whatever, to the system and then tell it when you would like to take meetings and then send that link to other people so they can book times to meet with you only within the parameters that you set. So it's a really, really powerful platform for like very little money per month. And as someone who does not like to take calls every single day and really only does it on Tuesdays, this has been a lifesaver. I have been able to set up something like Calendly and sync it to my calendar and then tell it that I only want to take calls between this time and this time on this day. And when I send my calendar to someone, say for a podcast interview or just for like a brand meeting or something like that, they can only book in the times that I have said are available, and I don't end up having calls all over the place or overlapping calls. Being able to streamline my scheduling and really set my own calendar and keep everything in one place has helped me so much, especially as somebody who gets really overwhelmed by things, but also it's eliminated the middleman, right? Like I don't have to have even my team now or me in the beginning scheduling things for me. I can literally just be like, sure, let's do that. Here's my booking link. And if you're running something like an interview-based podcast or an interview-based YouTube channel or whatever, it's going to save you so much time. And little bonus system here that I wasn't going to mention, but now I'm going to because I feel like it's important, is Zapier. Being able to hook systems together. So like hook Calendly with, let's say, ClickUp, or hook Calendly with my WordPress site has been able to help me streamline processes too. So in my first podcast, which was called All Up in Your Lady Business, it was an interview-based podcast. I co-hosted it, and then we had interviews almost every single episode, right? And when you're trying to coordinate that many interviews, it can be really hard. And it was really just the two of us and one part-time, like very part-time VA at the time. So we really needed to make the most of all of our time and streamline this to the best of our abilities. So we used a software like Calendly. I don't think we were using Calendly at the time, but we used a software similar to it. And that is how we like coordinated my calendar, her calendar, and, you know, our guest calendars. They could click the link to book and find a spot and all the things, right? But we went a step above that. And we had them go ahead and upload their bio and their headshot and used a Zapier zap to zap that from Calendly into WordPress. So when our VA went in to upload the episode, because at the time that's how we had to do it, their headshot was already there. There was no like downloading and re-uploading. Their bio was already there in like a draft post. So our VA did not have to like do all of this. And while that seems like maybe it's not saving a ton of time, when you only have virtual assistant for 10 hours a week, and you know, a lot of those hours go to putting these episodes out on the internet, it was saving her so much time and us so much money. This next system is one that you have heard me talk about so much here on this channel, and they're actually the sponsor of today's video. Oh my gosh. So when ClickUp reached out to me and was like, we would like to sponsor you, I don't think I've said yes quicker in my life. I really don't, because I truly love them so much. And you guys know that. I have never been sponsored by ClickUp, and there are a million videos here on my channel about them already. And whether or not they sponsored this video, it would have made the list. So let's talk about ClickUp. If you've been around for any amount of time, you probably know that I switched from another type of software that does similar things to ClickUp about 2.5 years ago now. And still to this day, sometimes I'll be like working inside ClickUp or doing something in ClickUp and I just fall in love over and over again. So it's like a project management tool, and this is where I organize my entire business. So this is where we put things like contracts for sponsorships. We go back and forth with team things. Some of my team tracks their time inside of ClickUp. This is where I organize all of my content. This is where I brainstorm and have like CEO spaces and keep everything that has to do with the business and the content in one spot. Honestly, if I had to pick one system, if you were like, Jessica, of this list of 5, maybe 6 systems, which one would be your favorite or the thing you couldn't live with? Hands down, it would be ClickUp. My business couldn't run without it. Like literally, I could not put out the content I put out. I could not manage the team I have. I could not get things done if I didn't. So I really want you to know how much I love them and how much I use them. And honestly, like if you went and asked my team, if you went and asked Laura, my operations manager, or Bridget, my customer service assistant, if I gave them a list of all of these systems I'm sharing with you and I was like, hey, pick one, we can only keep one that has to keep the wheels on the bus, I guarantee they would both pick ClickUp too. So I actually want to show you a few of my favorite features in ClickUp. And one of those favorite features is automations. I love them so much. Anytime a software does something automatically, I fall in love all over again. Like I really do. So let's say that I'm working with a video editor and I invite them into ClickUp and I let them be kind of in my content calendar space as a user. I can set up an automation where when I change the status on the task, it can automatically tag them and tell them it's ready for them. Then when they change the status on the task to like finished or uploaded or whatever, it could automatically tag Laura on my team and tell her that it's ready to chop up and make into reels or things that we're going to use to promote the video. So basically just changing the status removes so much work when we set up automations because it's automatically going to notify, tag, comment, whatever we have set up in the automation, the next person in the process, which I love so much. Automations are probably one of my favorite things, but they just released a new feature that I have been playing with. I need y'all to see it. I need to tell you about it. I need you to understand this feature. As if ClickUp couldn't be better, they now have a whiteboard view. So in ClickUp, you can actually choose from a ton of views. So you can do a calendar view like I have here on my content calendar that we're looking at right now. You can do a list view, a board view. You can choose from a ton of views. And it really just depends for me which one I choose based on the project and how my brain needs to see what's going on there. But if you want to add a view, you can actually choose from a ton of other views too, like a timeline view or a box view or a table view or whatever. And now they have this new one down here called Whiteboard. And y'all, you can ask my team. I love a good whiteboard. I love to mind map things on a good whiteboard, but I don't have a whiteboard in here and have nowhere really to put a whiteboard in here. So I can digitally whiteboard my ideas now on ClickUp. So if I just add this view, let's say to my content calendar here, and I want to plan out something, I can choose from one of the options that they have here, a flow chart, concept mapping, stand up, retrospective, reverse brainstorming, brain writing, sticky note pack, animal drawing battle, 2x2 matrix, or I can start from scratch. But let's say I really just want to kind of sticky note this. I really want to think through how this is going to go and arrange things like I would if I was putting sticky notes on my wall. I can do that in this whiteboard view. So I would just go in and add text to this, like idea 1, right? And I can add whatever text to this I want to, and I can move the freaking sticky note around. I hope you understand how excited I am about this. It's too fun. So if I want to say, okay, I'm going to plan out my content and I really want to plan for April, right? And let's see, I have a sponsorship with ClickUp I need to plan for, and I have a sponsorship with, I don't know, somebody else that I need to plan for. I can like use these sticky notes and plan out the content in a linear way, just as if I was going to put up sticky notes on my wall. Like, how freaking cool. Maybe I want to like brainstorm something else in a different way. I can go add another whiteboard view to this and pick another template to work with. So let's use this reverse brainstorming template. It literally has this stuff built out for me to whiteboard my problem. Okay, so I can define the problem I'm trying to work on. I can reverse engineer the problem. I can collect the ideas that need to go with that. I can reverse the ideas and I can get to a final solution over here. Like that is so, so cool. And we can't ignore just starting from scratch because I think this is a really fun one too. So we're just going to go ahead and start from scratch here. And there are tools over here on the left-hand side. The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist, okay? So I can add a sticky note, a shape, I can highlight things, I can add text, I can add charts, I can add mind maps, like whatever I want to do. So I could make this a literal whiteboard. I could literally use this as I would a whiteboard. Do you see why I love it so much? If you want to try out ClickUp, the link is always in the description of my videos because I love them so much. But if you want to try them out, the link is below in the description. And thank you so much, ClickUp, for sponsoring this video. Okay, wait. Before I get to the next two, which are very good, okay, very, very good systems that everybody needs. If you love systems, or I have convinced you that systems are something you need to streamline your business and do better and bigger things, I want you to hit me up in the comments below with the words, "My systems bring all the money to the yard." My systems bring all the money to the yard. Down below in the comments, okay? All right, we have two systems left, and I hinted at this first one in the beginning of the video, but it is truly a system that I could not live without, and that is Google Calendar. Now, I don't think it matters if it's Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, Outlook Calendar, or this calendar or that calendar, but some kind of digital, did you hear me? A digital calendar, I think is imperative. Why digital? Because when you have a really busy day and you forget that you have a meeting at 12 o'clock and it pops up and tells you, that's why. Paper just can't replace that. I love a good paper planner, like love it so much, but you need some kind of digital planner to organize your digital business. Like that's just all there is to it. So I love Google Calendar because it lets me block off time so that it syncs really well with Calendly. I can have multiple calendars. So I can have like a family calendar, a work calendar, a client call calendar, a this calendar, a that calendar, so that things can color coordinate. I shared on TikTok and Instagram here a while back that you can totally color coordinate your calendar and make it look all pretty. And everybody was asking how, and it's really not that hard. You just create different calendars with different colors and put different tasks under those calendars, and then it looks all beautiful like this. But Google Calendar helps me not miss meetings, helps me be a guest on podcasts, helps me have meetings with sponsors, helps me organize my entire brain and life on time specific tasks. And for that, I literally could not make six figures or more without it. And after being stood up by someone who obviously doesn't keep a digital calendar, and after having conversations with people who don't, I know for a fact that this would make a big difference in so many people's lives if they would just sit down and do it. And mind you, I don't enjoy having a calendar. I don't enjoy having to do that. I don't really want to. I would much rather fly by the seat of my pants, honestly. And I would much rather not have to look at a calendar, but I have kind of developed a way to where the calendar doesn't overwhelm me. I know for the most part that there's only events on my calendar on Tuesdays and maybe sometimes on Thursdays, and that helps me not feel overwhelmed when I open it. And the only thing that goes on my Google Calendar are time-specific tasks, so I don't forget them. For instance, I'm filming this right now and it's 11:48 in the morning and I have a call at 12, and I would have forgotten about it if my phone hadn't have just popped up and told me. Okay, last but not least, and this is a system that I would have not put on this list just a few years ago, and I'll explain why, and that is Canva. Oh, we all make graphics. We are all making YouTube thumbnails. We're all making Instagram graphics. We're all making graphics to promote something. We're all making graphics for Instagram stories. We're making graphics for all the things, and I have a background in graphic design. That's actually how I got started in this business world, was graphic design. Because I have a degree in advertising and graphic design was a big part of that, right? And so I love freedom when creating my graphics, and I love Photoshop and Illustrator and InDesign and the big softwares that help you do this. But when I tell you the time that is saved by my team and myself using Canva, I can't even put a number on it. I really can't. It takes me so much longer to open up Photoshop and do the things I need to do in there than it does to just use Canva. And not only the time saving, but all the things that I need are already there. So they have a ton of graphics that you can pick from. They have a ton of photos that you can pick from. And if I'm going to do that in Photoshop, I have to leave Photoshop and go somewhere else to find it. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love Photoshop, and there's a few things, just a few, because Canva has gotten so much better through the years, but there's just a few things that I still can't do in Canva that I can do in Photoshop, and when I want to do that on a thumbnail or something like that, I do open up Photoshop. But for the most part, we exclusively use Canva. Y'all, I even created all the things you see popping across the screen in my videos in Canva. Yeah, it's such an awesome tool, and it helps us run more efficiently. It helps us be able to create these graphics quickly and get on with our day, and it helps us collaborate on things a lot more. My operations manager, Laura, did y'all notice she got a new title? I stopped calling her my assistant. She's now my operations manager, which is very exciting for her and for me. But she just sent me a message on Voxer and was like, hey, I did this thing. I made the format for you in Canva. It's ready for you to go in and add the things. So much easier to collaborate with my team on graphics in Canva than it was in Photoshop or anything before that. Okay, this was a fun video for me. If you can't tell, I really, really love systems. I really, really love being able to like eliminate time from my team, time from myself, and use systems to help us like run this thing like a well-oiled machine. Because I got goals, baby, and a car with square wheels ain't gonna get us there, you know? All right, that is all for me today. Remember, if you want to check out ClickUp or anything else I talked about in this video, all the links are below in the description. And thanks again to ClickUp for sponsoring this video and for being so freaking awesome and being the one system I literally can't live without. And until next time, bye y'all.